All right. Hey, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. You're here because you want to really get to the bottom of complex topics and fast, right?
Yep.
We get it. We're the same way. And that's what we do here.
Yeah.
So today, we're diving into something that, well, it's a question that's probably on your mind a lot, especially when you're thinking about, what you eat, what's the deal with sugar and cancer risk.
Yeah, it's everywhere. You hear about it all the time.
Yeah.
And to be honest, there's a lot of confusing info out there.
Yeah, for sure. So to cut through all that noise, we're doing a deep dive today into a really solid article we found.
Mm-hmm.
It's from Wink News. Came out pretty recently, actually, March 28th, 2025.
Okay.
And the title's really clear. It's Understanding Sugar's Role in Cancer Risk. Straightforward, And that's what we're all about here, too.
Absolutely.
We want to make sure you're getting the most important points without having to, read a bunch of research papers yourself.
Exactly. You shouldn't have to go through all that.
Right. So let's jump right in to probably one of the biggest questions that I'm sure is on a lot of our listeners' minds.
Okay.
Sugar feeds cancer. You've heard that one, right?
Oh, tons of times.
So many people worry about that.
I mean, who hasn't heard that one, right?
Right. And this article from Wink News, they actually talk about this right up front.
Yeah.
So what does the article say?
So they bring in this expert, Paige Welsh, who's a registered dietitian at the Cleveland Clinic.
Mm-hmm.
And she explains something really interesting. When you eat carbs, and we're talking about anything from like that soda you have or ice cream to even fruit and whole grain bread, your body actually breaks all those down into glucose.
Huh.
And here's the thing. This glucose, it's not some like bad guy. It's actually essential fuel for all kinds of stuff your body does. Like it powers your brain.
Really?
And helps your muscles rebuild.
Wow, I had no idea.
So yeah, it's not like this thing that your body is trying to get rid of. It actually needs it.
Interesting. Okay, so it's not like this universal bad thing. Sugar isn't just bad. Okay. So then Welsh makes this point that really got me thinking. She's like, look, all cells in your body, and yes, she means even cancer cells,
Right.
they all use sugar to get energy. Like glucose is just how cells work.
It's like the basic fuel.
Huh. So if sugar or glucose is how all these cells get energy, does that mean that if I eat like a donut that's basically giving energy to cancer cells? Like, is that how it works?
Well, that's where it gets really interesting. The article actually says pretty clearly that there is no research to suggest that directly eating sugar causes someone to develop cancer or affects the growth of cancer cells.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah, it's not quite that straightforward.
That's a big relief to hear, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. If that were true,
Right.
we'd be in big trouble.
Yeah, that's true. So it's not like every time I eat a cookie, I'm like fueling cancer. That's not how it works.
Exactly.
Okay, but then the article goes on to talk about another kind of sugar.
Right. Added sugars. That's the big one.
Okay, so just to be clear, we're not talking about the sugars that are naturally in fruit or whatever, right?
No.
Like an apple has sugar.
Right. This is different.
Yeah.
Yeah, Welsh is specifically saying we got to pay attention to these added sugars, the stuff that's not naturally there in whole foods. Like all that sugar they put in processed snacks, sugary drinks, desserts.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we need to really watch out for.
So if it's not directly like feeding cancer cells, why are we so worried about added sugar?
Well, the article lays out some guidelines. It says, according to Welsh, that for women, it's best to keep added sugar under 25 grams a day. And for men, it's more like 36 grams.
Okay.
But she also says, and this is key, less is always better.
That makes sense.
And then she gives this great practical tip. Check the labels. Like really look at how much added sugar is in the stuff you're buying.
Oh, yeah, because it can sneak up on you.
Totally.
Okay, so added sugar isn't directly feeding cancer, but what's the problem then?
So the article goes on to explain that the big problem with all this extra added sugar is that it can lead to, weight gain and all the health issues that come with that.
Oh.
And that's where the connection to cancer comes in.
Mm.
We know, and the article mentions this too, that being overweight or obese and things like type 2 diabetes, which can be made worse by a lot of sugar,
Right.
those things are actually linked to a higher risk of some cancers.
So it's more like a domino effect.
Exactly.
The added sugar leads to other problems, and those problems can then increase the risk of cancer.
You got it.
Okay, that's a lot clearer than just saying sugar is bad.
Right. It's way more nuanced than that.
Absolutely. So what kinds of sugars does the article say we should be eating?
So they recommend sticking to wholesome whole foods with naturally occurring sugars.
Okay.
These are the foods that actually give your body the energy it needs, along with all the other good stuff like fiber, vitamins, minerals.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And the article specifically mentioned fruit, right?
Yes. Fruit is a great example. They have natural sugars, but
Mhm.
also so many nutrients that are good for you.
Okay, but what about those times when you just want something like chocolate or ice cream? Does the article say those are off limits?
Not at all.
Hmm.
It's all about moderation is key.
Right.
They say it's totally fine to have those treats every once in a while as part of a balanced diet.
Hmm.
It's really the constant overdoing it on added sugar that's the problem.
All right, so let's recap here for our listeners. What's the main takeaway from our deep dive into this Wink News article?
Sure. So the most important thing to remember is this. While all cells, including cancer cells, use glucose for energy, this article makes it clear there's no scientific proof that directly eating sugar causes cancer or makes it grow faster.
Okay.
The real concern, like Paige Welsh was saying, is eating way too much added sugar,
Right.
because that can lead to obesity and other health problems that we know are linked to a higher risk of cancer.
And that makes sense when you think about the research in general. So the point isn't to, like, never eat sugar again. That's not realistic for most people.
All way.
It's more about being aware of how much added sugar is in our food and trying to limit that
Right.
while still enjoying natural sugars in moderation.
Exactly.
It's about moving past this idea that all sugar is bad and looking at the bigger picture.
Exactly.
It's more nuanced.
This article really helps with that, I think.
Ah.
So for everyone listening, take a minute to think about what you eat and drink on a regular basis. Are you paying attention to how much added sugar is in those things? Maybe this deep dive has given you a new way to think about your diet moving forward.
Hopefully.
It's not about depriving yourself. It's about making smarter choices for the long run, you know?
For sure.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. We'll see you next time.